Hey everybody, this is Matt from End Sickness. Today I'm going to talk about the connection between mycotoxins and mental health issues. And we're going to go over it in great detail. I had PTSD, ADHD. I watched people recover from extreme trauma and saw the connection that mold can have and how it can affect you and make you more susceptible to these things. So I'll go over that in great detail. First, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. It's not medical advice. I'm a holistic nutritionist. This is based on my experience. This is for informational and educational purposes only. So let me get back to it. Mycotoxins. Mycotoxins are toxins that are produced by molds that saturate our environment inside of our homes. Anything that's porous, they can go ahead and start to basically absorb into. And they're not fixable through remediation. They actually enter these porous surfaces and they remain unless there's intense cleaning, well beyond what you're used to doing. And these mycotoxins, certain people become ultra sensitive to these and they become neurotoxic and they become really toxic to the immune system. And when someone's living in the presence of different mycotoxins that are making their immune system over aggravated, what happens is they start having neuroinflammatory reactions. They're breathing in these mycotoxins through their nose and it's inflaming their region right in the front of their forehead. It affects their feelings, their emotions, everything. And they start basically having swelling, low-grade neurological swelling, and it affects the speed of their thought. It affects the type of thoughts they have. It alters their neurotransmitter balance. It does lots of things. Mycotoxin exposure can completely turn someone from, a relatively calm person into someone who has extreme anger or neurological or like autistic-like symptoms. I've seen it in my daughter. I've experienced a version of it myself. I've seen it in multiple clients. When someone has a sensitivity to mycotoxins, what happens is when everything goes out of balance, they don't know what's going on, right? They say, oh my God, it can't be. They don't think it's mold. They don't think it's something in their environment. They think it's this mental health condition. So they start buying into the terms depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, PTSD, whatever it is, right? Of course, there's an emotional component, absolutely, to these things. There's no doubt about it. But mycotoxins and mental illness can go hand in hand. If you're living in a place that has tons of mold, you can start to have obsessive thoughts, reoccurring thoughts, thought loops, fast-paced thoughts you can't get control of. And it could really be because you're chronically being overactivated. The mast cells are being activated. They're secreting inflammatory molecules into the blood. It's passing the blood-brain barrier, going in, swelling up the neurological system, causing this hyperactivation, this fight or flight response to persist. And it all starts with the mast cells, always. All the symptoms always start with the mast cells, no matter what condition you're going through. And these mast cells are the ones that secrete the inflammation that cause the symptoms. So the mycotoxins are the most toxic thing, the most irritating thing to the mast cells of all. If you're dealing with mental health issues, OCD, autism, like I said, PTSD, bipolar, anxiety, chronic unresolvable depression, these things all could be tied to what we're inhaling. All right, it's not always just what we're thinking or what we're eating. So obviously there are ties to what you're eating if you're eating a poor diet or if you're thinking thoughts that, based upon past trauma that keep repeating themselves. Of course, all that can feed into mental health conditions, and I'm not by any means ignoring that at all. But what I am saying, in situations where they've been chronic, not resistant to change, resistant to progress, you've tried this medication, that medication, we've tried everything, and it's just not working. The mental health conditions still persist. You have to pursue mycotoxins. If you don't look at mycotoxins, you could be missing the boat big time and just coping with the condition the rest of your life. The way you figure out mycotoxins is you go to mymycolab.com. I do not work for them at all, but they are the only place that does these IgG, IgE mycotoxin antibody tests. It tests for the mycotoxins and your antibody levels to them. So it shows your past exposure and your current exposure. If you're being exposed currently on high levels across the board, and you have a chronic illness, you have food allergies, you have other issues, then it's very clear that the mycotoxins can be the actual root cause of this. And once you get out of that environment, you could, in fact, just have enough relief on the immune system and the inflammation to start to be able to form productive thoughts that aren't based in fear, that aren't based in perceived danger, that aren't looking ahead so much that you're stuck more in the present moment where you could experience content and peace and happiness. So I want to cover all that in this video. Go to my website, endsickness.org, for more information on how mycotoxins affect you, specifically with mental health issues. I'll cover more of that in future videos. Thanks for watching, everybody, and hope to see you again soon.